regard. We've doubled up and we've done lots of incidental episodes, but that's just kind of like the way it's been. It's been incredible. As always, oh, hang on, wrong one. I've got a couple of social media ones, and I've got that one as well. I'm going to have to get rid of that. There we go. Social media. Englishman SDCC. Englishman in San Diego on the Facebook. Speaking of which, jump in on the Facebook and make sure it's public. And of course, Patreon supporters. I want to say thank you so much indeed for you guys. You have really made this year so special when it comes to how the year has gone with what we've done. Right, 2 minutes away. Now the thing about this one is, and I might just really quickly go in this regard so I can see you and you can see me. The thing is, it's not just the launch of the podcast and my show at the top of the hour. It's also the launch of Comic-Con at Home 2020, which we're going to talk about. I'm kind of going to walk you through it. Toby says hi. Hello there, Toby. Pleasure to have you joining us, sir. Not shaven. I'm very bumfluff today, purely because I had a backup plan, and both of them crapped out on me. I had a couple of guests that were lined up to go, and it just wasn't going to happen. Unfortunately, we just had a lot of... it all just kind of fell apart. Hi, folks. I'm attending SDCC vicariously by going through old tat today. You have no idea. I've been going through photos. I've not been going through the gear. The gear's upstairs in the attic. I might do that in an incidental episode tomorrow. I might just go through old Comic-Con gear. Scott Angus is saying hi. Hi, Lenny. Like the shirt. Do you like the shirt? This was the one that was chosen by the my Twitter audience. There you go. It's the one that we decided to go for. But if you saw the video on Twitter, hey, listen, I got asked to wear them all, and I wore them all. So there you go. Ian O'Hara's watching as well. Toddland in a minute. Toddland is live, as far as I'm aware, isn't it? But I think Michael P is checking Toddland out. Leanne D saying hi, hello to everyone. It's the top of the hour, which means it's safe to say it's that time.
Welcome to Comic-Con International.
The exhibit hall is now open to attendees. Have a great Comic-Con.
Yeah, it's now open. It's now top of the hour. Now, obviously, my interest is in the panels, mostly because funds are precluding me from getting anything bought. I know that Michael P is turning around and saying, well, I mean, Toby's turned around and saying, big question. Oh, well, number one, Ian O'Hara, I hope I didn't rip any of your shirts. No, I was very careful, especially when taking them off. Like I say, Michael P is turning around and saying, when Toddland in a minute, and does anyone know when the interactive map will go live? Well, tell you what, let's dive into that now. Let's do this. It is Comic-Con International 2020. It's SDCC at home, Comic-Con at home, Con at home, SDCC 20. The hashtags are through the roof this year. It's absolutely insane. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to talk through a couple of the things that are available to you as con attendees. So let's do this. I'm going to very quickly first go to let's go to the big one. Let's go to the exhibitors. Because, of course, the question is how this works. The idea is that it's an interactive map. Now, this is on the exhibitors page. It's CCI/2020 exhibitors. I'm going to go through them all because I want to find out exactly how this works. Wednesday, July 22nd, the Comic-Con at Home online exhibit hall will go live. Join us for an interactive version of the floor plan with offerings from a great cross-section of exhibitors from all over the exhibit hall. So let's click on the PDF. This is supposed to be a interactive PDF, which means you should be able to click on various links around the PDF, but there's nothing live. Nothing yet. Who knows? We may have something a little bit later. Is there something over here? Maybe Funko? Nothing clickable there. Okay, so we're going to have to check this out. I mean, there's none of the links that have gone live. Let's reload the page. You never know. Click on here. Ah, here we go then. So let's go to the page. Click on here to check out our online exhibit hall. Let's examine together. So we have ourselves the floor. And yeah, wow. In that case, it is a case of where you can go to find your various bits and pieces. Does anyone have any nominations anywhere that we would like to go first? Let's go for I saw Gentle Giant. And here we go. So if we just zoom back out, we have Gentle Giant, and we have ourselves the company, which is all the information about such. More company information website as well, and we have the a click of a detail. Okay, so that's not necessarily interesting. So let's try something a little bit more interactive, something that perhaps you may want to speak to. Maybe one of the artists. Let's go for an artist. It's a shame that the list doesn't get a little bit more. Dan. I spotted Dan's name there. Dan Van Ismail. Okay. Ah, and here we go. So we have ourselves 5 items that are up for grabs. Quite like the year 1 print. And of course, it takes you to the website. Okay. So there's no purchasing available, I believe, by the looks of things, on the actual page itself. Mezzanine. A couple of fan sites here. Check out the Comic-Con Museum in booth 7114. I'll tell you what then, let's click on 12 feet. Yeah. Aha! And here you go. So you can actually purchase things, I'm guessing, directly from the site. Aha! Okay. So basically everywhere which has got the highlighted list. So let's go to click for the exhibitors list. Don't want to search. All of these then are clickable. So if we go to the Alex Ross art store, because of course Alex Ross and I, close personal friends. So we have the original 7, which is a very big print for him. 325. And you actually have to buy it from the store, from their website. So it's I suppose it's a good thing. It kind of points you in the direction. Ah, this is where you're not actually seeing. Hang on a second. I do apologise. I've just suddenly realised you're not actually looking. I could have sworn it turned around and said that it was sharing that screen. I do apologise. Brings up the details of the item and then points you in the direction of the store. So that kind of makes sense. So if we go back to the home, you can actually search for exhibitor. Usher, yeah. I don't know what on earth that's doing in there. This may be one of the DJing things. So let's pick one at random. Let's pick someone that we quite like. Her Universe. Okay. Her Universe. Not much in the way of the booth. Ah, okay, that's a shame. Let's go for Hero Within then. Tony and his exhibits. So here we go. These are the products that he has brought for Comic-Con, including the Batman 80 years anniversary jacket. Brings you the details, then brings you the visit website. It points you in the direction of the exhibitor's website. I quite like that because it shows that they are showing support of the exhibitors instead of keeping it all in the Comic-Con blanket. it points you in the direction of them, and they get the traffic, and they get the sale. I like that. I'm okay with that. Click on Marvel. It goes to, apparently, to the products. So, okay, let's go to exhibitors. Let's search for Marvel. With me with my awful typing. I do apologise. Marvel Entertainment. And here we go. So these are the exclusives that they have brought for Comic-Con. View all exhibited products. The Scotty Young Premier Collection. Yeah, no thank you. Too expensive. Too expensive for me anyway. So here we go. Marvel.com Empire. And you visit the website. Okay. Let's pick another at random. I mean, tell you what, here we go, guys. It's your turn. Tell me who you want to go to. If you type in Comic-Con in YouTube search, use the live filter. I'm about to do that, Butch. Thank you very much indeed for that comment. We're going to go to that. Hit the Mondo booth. Let's blow the. Let's blow it all in 5 minutes. Yeah, let's go to Mondo. Let's have a look at what they've got up and running. All the links are live now. Quite like that $20.99 enamel pin. You go to the site. Fair enough. And you click here for additional information, and there's all the links as need be. I like that it points it to the site for the exhibitor. I like that. That's okay. I'm okay with that. So there we go. Anyone else? Let's have a look at anyone else. There's a link to Marvel HQ, but there we go. Scott Angus is talking about the Marvel, Scotty Young. It's about the same cost that you try and chase all them pins. You're absolutely right, but I can't afford all those pins. I never could. I only got one or two at a time. But now you can get them all. You're absolutely right. I love some Spidey $20.99 as well. Absolutely. Brad Wells is here. Hi, Brad. Long time no see, dude. Right, so the actual exhibitor site then is up and running. I would heartily recommend you checking it out because that's cool. I'm down with that. It's the online exhibit hall. It basically points people in the direction of everyone that you need to see, and includes all of the exclusives and the items that they're selling. Aaron Leprezzi sketchbook, $25. Points you to the site. Cool. Okay, down with that. Hello, Aaron. Nice to have you here. Welcome along. Andrew Dixon, it's probably the only way to do it linking to the vendors, as they will be the ones that are sending out the goods. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This is awesome. Hello, Raven Fire Phoenix. It's a pleasure to have you joining us. Thank you very much indeed for coming along. This is merely, I mean, it's a site where we usually do interviews. We had 3 people lined up and all of them dropped out at the last minute. Mostly because I think they're doing exactly what we're doing now, which is looking through stuff. Brad Wells, I'm quite happy with what Con has done with this virtual con so far. Yeah, I'm very impressed as well. The exhibitor stuff, that's great. Like I say, it points people in the right direction. I'm down with that. Sarita P is saying hi. Hi, Sarita. Pleasure to have you along. Leanne D is here as well. Hi, Sarita. Don't forget as well, I mean, there are some people that have actually opened up their sites a little bit early. The who did I bought something. I did buy something today. Admittedly, it's not a great deal, but I did buy something today. The Con Rangers. I've got their badges out, and yeah, let's have a look. So let's have a look. Andrew Dickinson, now done the floor, time to go to the gas lamp. Not yet. I mean, yes, on a preview night that we would do that. We would just we'd blitz the preview night. To be fair, I'd also do check out the actual previews up in Ballroom 20. It's easy enough to get in. There's no panels up on stage. So it really is a case of plonking yourself down and watching a program. Admittedly, the last one I watched, I think, was Arrow. Actually, no, I didn't. I watched seem to remember sitting in on a Ballroom 20, and basically I watched 4 pilots back to back, all of which have died on the vine. That year was not a great year. So there we go. Okay. So that's the exhibit floor. Like I say, you can find that at, you can find the link for it at cci/2020/exhibitors. Dead easy on the comic-con.org, comic-con.org website. Do check it out. However, that isn't for me the main thing. The main thing for me is the panels. It's the content. I'm a little bit distressed and disturbed that I put out a tweet and asked how many people would be watching any of today's panels. They are the educators panels. They're the ones that are mostly geared towards teachers and educators. So they are very much geared towards using comics in teaching, the education elements of comics. That's the kind of thing that you would you find on the panels on a Wednesday. They're usually held at the San Diego Library. And I put a panel out, a tweet out, sorry, asking how many people would be watching the panels today, and they turned around and said that was about 72% that said no. That's disappointing. There we go. Hello there. It's good to see Xavier joining us. Good to see you. Good live streaming. Hello there. Welcome along. This is just kind of like I say, I mean, in the past we've had, go and check the channel out. We've had some stellar guests this season. It's been absolutely amazing. The guest that we had on the incidental episode on Monday was rather cool. Very much talking about the British and small press and independent stuff. But we had Todd Stashwick on Sunday, which was awesome. We've had some amazing guests, and hopefully we'll try and get some more over the course of this week. John Dave is asking, is Sony going to be at SDCC as far as we are aware? No. We were talking about this on a podcast the other day, purely because at the end of the day, we have had a live drop-in, or we had a drop-in on Friday, which was the panel that was being put together by New Mutants. You're going to be getting the stars of that film on a panel, and it was dropped in relatively last minute, which means, I mean, myself and Alyssa, we thought, if they can do it, I'm certain there are some people over the course of the weekend, a marketing department, who could rustle up an hour's worth of panel and drop it into the schedule. But that's down to Comic-Con. It's down to their arrangement. It's down to what they're doing. Let's actually cover that then. It's the panels. Let's have a look at what you see and what you find when you go to the channel for Comic-Con. Let me see if I can just see what on earth I'm doing here, because yes, I did suddenly realise I am actually looking at the Todd Stashwick a video that I recorded, and just to get some links, get some details. So okay, this is what you're going to be doing. Andrew Dickinson, I think there's going to be some surprise guests over the weekend. I totally agree. I totally agree. So let's go to it. It is the Comic-Con International site. You just search for Comic-Con International. It's right there, top of the shop, and it is the only official YouTube channel, and it's where you're going to find all of the elements. Now, they have been posting a load of these small, little incidental videos. Yes, sewing tutorial with Pam, how to put your mask on. A drawing tutorial with Katie Cook. These should have been live and on their channel for years. Why on earth they haven't done a Katie Cook regular video, I have no idea. But here we go. Let's have a look then at the live. We go to, where is live? Videos. Where are the live videos? Can someone help me out? Comic-Con International live. Am I looking in the wrong place here? Guys, please help me out. Where is live? Videos. Where are the live videos? Can someone help me out? Comic-Con International live. Am I looking in the wrong place here? Guys, please help me out. Am I looking in the wrong place here? Guys, please help me out. Am I looking in the wrong place here? Guys, please help me out. Let's have a look at this. Xavier, if you believe, or I believe in 2021, SDCC Note Entertainment and movie companies will want more spaces to promote since 2020 was cancelled. Personally, it's all down to how we support Comic-Con this year. They have been, or the movie studios have been very curious about how they're supporting Comic-Con over the last 7-8 years, as it's become, I think, Scott Pilgrim was the first. Scott Pilgrim and Cowboys and Aliens were the first two ones that really did demonstrate that it's a very insular. While it's a great target audience to get an idea of what the nerds like, you can go in with your clipboards. You can get an idea what the Comic-Con audience is going to like and enjoy, the films that they're going to get into. I think it became obvious with the box office of Cowboys and Aliens and Scott Pilgrim and a whole bunch of other films and programs that it's a very insular target audience, and the success at Comic-Con may not be a success across the board. We have seen companies drop off their promotion and leaving Comic-Con out of the equation. We need to support Comic-Con International by watching the videos today. Andrew Dickinson, the 10-year table read is excellent. Really should have been part of SDCC. Correct. It's well worth checking out. It's on Entertainment Weekly. Very, very nice indeed. So if anyone can point me in the direction of the live videos for Comic-Con at home, because at the end of the day, we should be seeing these videos go up. And all we're seeing at the moment are these. It is 6 o'clock here in the UK, 20 past 6 actually. So it's 10 o'clock Pacific. And according to the schedule, we have ourselves our first videos up. So if anyone can point me in the right... Am I going completely mental? Let's have a look. Won't be live until 10 p.m, 11 p.m, as the first video is until 3 p.m. PST. Right. As far as I'm aware, I could have sworn there was one at 10 o'clock. Chat it up, Lenny. I do my best. I do. First vid is 3 p.m. If I go to the my listings, education programming. No, you're absolutely right. You're okay. So it's in filter. Okay, fair enough. In which case, this is where the videos are going to show up. Fair enough. Fine. So the video, I mean, I'm going to be very curious to see what the actual live videos are going to look like. I mean, we're obviously going to be getting the bumper that we've been seeing left, right, and centre, which I think I can show you now. This is what you can expect to see at the top of every single video. So there we go. No, you're absolutely right then. I have had a look. The first videos that are up at 3 p.m. So it's going to be 11 o'clock here in the UK. Comics in the Classroom, Ask Me Anything. Pick the brains of teachers, administrators, creators and publishers. I mean, this will give you the sense of the programming that you're going to be getting today. Geek Ed, Restored, Reimagining Creative Privilege. We have Teaching and Learning with Comics, with the likes of representatives of Portland State University, Stanford University, etc. And then at 4 o'clock, Books for All. It's time to redefine how we share books with kids. I will be doing my best to keep an eye on these videos, because at the end of the day, the ease of those videos, getting to those videos and getting to this channel, that's going to be the key. That's going to be, for me, the key. Whether you have your notifications turned on, I mean, yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going. Brian is asking, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the videos that are going live, but we're not there yet. Sorry, I thought they were 10 o'clock programming. I do apologise. So there we go. But that's the video. That's the channel you're looking for, which is Comic-Con International. And if you just search for YouTube user Comic-Con. In fact, if I can just go to banners, create a banner, and type that in. Pretty simple, because then I can just show you that, and that is the channel that you're looking for. Okay. The panels will be going live from 10 o'clock, so around this time tomorrow for Thursday through Sunday. So do check out, certainly if you go to the Convention Collective, my website, and if you type in into the search bar Comic Con schedules, there is a page with them all on, with listings, with links. And the plan is for me to go in and actually embed the YouTube videos as we go. That's the plan. Right. I mean, we can also talk about just Comic-Con memories, I suppose, because that has been, I think, the goal for today. It's to be sort of like sharing our own favourite memories. I mean, heaven knows, I've had my fair share. Let's see if I can just bring these up, because it's just been it has been a lot of fun to go through my photos and just discover lots of really cool memories. And I'm certain that all of us are doing it at the moment this week. Just finding those favourite things. The only downside is I can't seem to find a great deal of my 2010 photos, which was my first year going out to San Diego Comic-Con, which is really disappointing. I mean, I've got a couple. Let's see if I can just bring them. This is just a memory, a bunch of memories of my first Comic-Con. Let's go to this and that. There we go. So this was the Thursday, slightly early. Oh no, it wasn't. This was Wednesday. This was the line starting for Tron Legacy, which was the panel I was interested in. Although Caroline will remind me of one particular memory of that particular year, in that I did head down to go to the panel for Tron Legacy, at which point it was noted that I left my badge at home, which was really frustrating, because I then had to get a taxi all the way back to where we were staying, some 5 miles out of town, to get my badge and come back. Oh dearie me, memories. Michael Lee Morris, I've lost my 07 to 09 photos, except what I posted to Facebook, and they're so small and they're so compressed, it's awful. My phone picked today to show me the feature photos from 1, 2, 3, 4 years ago, a bunch of Comic-Con photos. My mine has been showing up the photos of the panel that I hosted today. The date was I hosted a panel at Comic-Con, and yeah, it's been it's almost difficult for me to think about it, because number one, I won't rewatch it in case I think the panel's crap and I could have done better, and also just the fact that I did it. The whole thing's a blur. I can't remember much about the whole session, but the fact that I hosted a panel is just incredible. Let's have a look at this. Andrew Dickinson, to be honest, this is what they are going to have to do every year from now on, as they should have had this sort of content for you, because they have let all the media steal their thunder. I know that Andrew is very much has got this kind of attitude. He's certainly somebody who's not a fan of what Comic-Con HQ did, because at the end of the day, I think they completely dropped the ball on that one. Oh, let's have a look through these photos. 2010 then. Oh dear. Yes, let's have everything in Klingon. Lovely. Ah, the Scott Pilgrim display. This is when Scott Pilgrim was, of course, on the side of the Hilton Bayfront, and they did themselves a Scott Pilgrim display at the Hilton Gaslamp. And Brian Lee O'Malley was there, and yes, Cafe Diem, Flynn's Bar, which I didn't get in, and I wanted to, but I couldn't quite land myself an invite inside, which is a shame. I believe, is this Tarantino's thing, or is this the Green Hornet? I think this might be the Green Hornet car. Ah yes, the very front of the convention, the Hall H line, or indeed the exhibit floor line, preview night. opening up the doors and letting people, and this is, as you could tell, not strictly super populated. If anything, because it's a Green Hornet car. Mostly because at this point in 2010, not many people knew about the line that formed directly above Hall H, which fed you down and dropped you inside the artist alley area. So you basically could come into the exhibit floor from two directions. One above the Hall H, and one if you come in from the sales pavilion, which led you out onto the veranda, down into the escalators, and drop you straight into the middle of the exhibit floor. Your choice, your call. This was always our choice because it wasn't as busy until people discovered about it, and it just dropped you straight into the exhibit floor. So it's always fun. Leanne D is saying, I just want to thank Leonard for nominating me to get a treat from SDCC Convention Centre. Thank you. Yes, the Convention Centre did do lottery competitions for the Comic Con chocolate, the Saturday morning cartoons, which I nominated Leanne D for because she has, if anyone's a long time watcher of this podcast, you'll know she has not had the greatest of years. She has had every endurance thrown at her, and she's a rock star. She's a superstar, is Leanne, and it was my way of acknowledging her and kind of showing due respect of her tenacity. They chose my tweet, and yes, we've got somebody called, a friend of ours called Chuck, who went by the convention centre to pick up the bars. He's keeping one as a finder's fee, and Leanne's getting one mailed to her. So there you go. That's my giving back, as it were. Ah, yes, the front of the queue. This is the queue, actually, you may have spotted in the Comic Con documentary, which is by Morgan Spurlock. Comic Con Episode 4, A Fan's Hope. You just see my back, briefly, and you see my wife, Caroline, in the section where they are looking at the front of the line. And then we just dive in. The end of Harry Potter. Oh, dearie me. The good lady wife there. Dead Rising 2. Oh, good lord. Yeah. Being the Tron fan, I had to go look all the Tron stuff. And you could tell these were pictures were taken on an iPhone 3 because the camera's crap. Hey, there we go. Yeah, I'm stunned any of these are focused. I really am. Thor the Mighty Avenger. And then we have our line buddies. A very large Optimus Prime with a very small Caroline. Hey. Now, I believe this has... this particular collection of photos has one of my few pictures of Stan Lee, and as close as I ever got to him. Yes, the bringing out of Captain America, the first Avenger, and indeed Kenneth Branagh. Oh, look at the camera on the iPhone 3, bloody awful. The Throne. Scott Kurtz of PvP Online. I was a massive fan. I am still a massive fan of Scott Kurtz. The book there you see in his brother's hand, the very, very large anthology, which is in the other room. It was the first thing I bought at San Diego Comic Con, and it's a brick of a thing. Published by, it's a web comic, is PvP Online. I'm a huge fan. But, you can tell. Here we go. Huge fan. Skull. He's been in every single episode of these, so there you go. Now you know who he is. He's part of PvP Online. And it made the journey back particularly difficult because it just made the luggage so heavy. But no, that was my first Comic-Con purchase. So there you go. Look at the camera on it. Blurred to hell. What a shame. Harrison Ford coming out for Cowboys and Aliens. That was a particularly cool day. Purely because myself and Caroline, I've told the tale before, but I'll tell it again, just in case anybody didn't know this one. Basically, we did preview night, myself and Caroline, and we had a great time looking around. It wasn't as busy as many people think of preview night now. It was still quite a minor. It was easier to get around. That was fine. Samir's saying hello. Hope I'm all right. Thank you very much indeed, Samir. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you very much indeed for joining in. Then we did the Thursday, and I went into Hall H, got in for the first panel, which was Megamind. Then I think you had Guillermo del Toro for Haunted Mansion, which never happened. And then you had Tron Legacy. So I spent a reasonable chunk of the day, my first Comic-Con day, in Hall H. I think I came out when the Expendables panel happened. Wasn't my bag, baby. At which point I caught up with Caroline. The photo I showed there of the top above Hall H, you keep going around the corner, you get to the back corner of the exhibit of the convention center, and that's where I found Caroline. She was sat against a wall. She was close to tears. She was not a happy bunny. We had flown 3,500 miles to attend this thing, which we were both really excited about, and it broke her because there was just so many people pushing and barging and not saying sorry, not apologizing for any kind of infraction into your own personal space. And she just felt battered and bruised. She was almost in the fetal position. She was not happy. We went back to the apartment, and Caroline was close to tears. Basically, she was feeling that maybe we had travelled all this way for something which wasn't for her, which she was not up for enjoying. We then decided, well, tell you what then, we won't go to Comic-Con on the Friday. First really big major day of the con, you could say. Friday is one of the big days, and we basically left it behind. We went to SeaWorld. I'm not going to lie, I was not in a great place in my head. I felt slightly bitter. At the bus stop heading towards to SeaWorld, I was just thinking, but I want to go to Comic-Con and we're not going. And this was shortly after we got married. That wasn't a great place for my head to be in. We had a great day. We stepped away from the convention. We spent time with each other. We had a great time. I mean, admittedly, I then came back and watched Blackfish, and I'm never going to go to SeaWorld again. But it was a good day to just decompress. The next day, we went in on the Saturday and decided we're going to go back into Comic-Con. We're going to try again. We've seen the crowds. We know what to expect. Let's give it another go. And as it happened, the Saturday, we went down about 9 o'clock-ish to get into the line for Hall H. We didn't get in for Harry Potter. Never mind. We did get in for a horror film, which was directly after, which I can't tell you what it was. Watched Trailer Park, which is one of the single most pointless elements of Comic-Con, watching a bunch of trailers on the screen for 20 minutes, half an hour, which then there was a delay because we had, of course, the famous stabbing in Hall H. So they put the panels back a bit because they wanted to get the person out, they wanted to get the situation sorted. The protractor in the face, or the fight over the chair at a Harry Potter panel. But of course, then that was the panel and the incident which got Comic-Con in the news. I mean, great. But we were in there. At which point we saw there was a panel called Paul, and we had no clue what to expect. All it said was just Paul. I think it's Paramount. We had no clue. At which point they then turned around and announced, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the other stars of the film, which were, it's a pretty impressive cast. And then right at the end, turned around and said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sigourney Weaver. And myself and Caroline, we went from head down like this, waiting for the next panel, whatever, to being total lemmings. What the hell? And it was the equivalent of me, because I went to a festival once where I went in to see an ABBA revival tribute act, went all the way through, and it ended up being the ABBA revival act, Roachford, Ronnie Size, and then James Brown, and it just went up and up and up throughout the day. And that was the equivalent I had for this day, because you had the Paul panel, Sigourney Weaver coming out. I lost my mind, as you can imagine. We knew about Cowboys and Aliens. I knew about the comic, but we didn't know anything about the actual film itself. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jon Favreau. Me and Caroline, our attention was piqued. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig comes out. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome Harrison Ford? And the room went ballistic. You could have peeled them off the ceiling. It was just insane. Jon Favreau comes out and then he announces, well, tell you what, we've only been filming for 3 weeks. Would you like to see what we've done? And they showed the sequence, which is possibly the best sequence in Cowboys and Aliens, when Daniel Craig's tied up in the back of the transport to take him off to get hung or whatever he's doing. He's all chained up, and the aliens come across the horizon. Just insane. Absolutely insane. And it was an incredible day, because from there it went into the Marvel panel, and then you had Thor, I believe. You had Captain America First Avenger, which they then showed sequences that they had filmed 3 weeks before. And then you had the moment where, ladies and gentlemen, first it was Samuel L. Jackson, brought out by Kevin Feige. Samuel L. Jackson then introduces Robert Downey Jr. And I'm going to introduce you to a bunch of my friends. And they started with Scarlett Johansson. Then went down the line, and about 2 or 3 in, I just went, they're going to bring out the whole Avengers cast. And we were on our feet. And anyone who was in the room that day, and I know there are 1 or 2 that are watching now, anyone who's in the room knows that was a seminal moment for Comic-Con. Truly incredible. Truly incredible. And that's when we fell in love. That was on the Saturday. On the Sunday, we got into it, and we got it. We made friends. We made con buddies. And for us, I mean, while I've just been talking about all of the content, it's the friends that you make. And I have got people who I met in the lines for these panels and for Get Into It that are in my friends list today, and who I talk to on a regular basis, and truly amazing. Dan Berry, that room was electric. Michael P, I was there, it was amazing. There was quite a few people who were there, actually, who I've learnt down the line. I knew Neil Williamson was there. Alyssa Franks was there. It was her first Comic-Con as well. Truly amazing. Truly amazing. And it was just one of those magical days. Thank you very much indeed to the truly appalling camera of the iPhone 3. So there we go. Is that yeah, it just kind of rolls round. Ah, Sucker Punch. Yeah, that film. That is a film. So there we go. A whole bunch of Star Wars stuff. I'm a Black Hole fan, so I had to take a picture, because tomorrow may never come. Aren't we all needing some of that today in 2020? Red shirt cologne. Oh dear. And one of my favourite photos. There you go. The good lady on top of the Comic-Con banner. outside of or just going into the floor. I think this would have been preview night. This would have been just as things are getting settled. So I think these are not in any particular order. And there it is, the convention centre, which we're all missing today. Scott Pilgrim on the side of the Hilton Bayfront. Let's see what else is in here. Whole bunch of toys. I think I was just taking pictures of all sorts at this point. One of my first photos of the convention centre. And there's my con buddies. That would have been on the this is Saturday, Comic Con 2010. And there's Sigourney Weaver smiling. You could just about make her out. You know what, these photos are embarrassing. Why was the iPhone 3 so terrible? Why was it so bad? So there we go. Inohara, why does everyone hate Sucker Punch? Because it's a film made by a jock. It's got no finesse. You could tell it's an attempt to try and be a fantasy film made by the guy who made 300. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's the reason why. There we go. Dan Berry, it was my 10th straight San Diego Comic Con. Do remember, he lives there. He lives in San Diego, which he does remind us on a regular basis. Never mind these photos. Give me pictures of Spider-Man. I've got one or two in here as well. Sucker Punch, truly weird movie, and Sucker Punch, true disaster. I don't know. I just watched it for the first time this year. I need to watch it again. You know what? Shall we do that? Shall we make it our mission? We'll watch Sucker Punch tonight. We'll find it and we'll watch it. So there we go. The only other thing that I did want to bring up is a video which I made. Wasn't that Michael Espinosa in line with you in one of those photos? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I wanted to show you this. This is more for anybody who has not been to Comic-Con yet. I know that the vast majority of people that watch and subscribe to this channel are regulars. That's fine. We do get one or two people every once in a while who have never been to Comic-Con. I would dearly love for this channel to become more aware for people who have never been, because we want to share our love of this event for people who have never been. But then you get people who are asking about preview night and whether it's worth it, and also whether it's worth lining up nice and early for preview night. At which point I'm going to show this. This is a video that I made up because the question was, do I really have to line up to get in on preview night? At the end of the day, possibly not. (2013), 5 minutes before doors opened, absolutely rammed. The line is there. It's gonna get. It's huge, isn't it? 6 minutes after the doors opened, and at this point they're letting people in through the sideways door. So at that point, if you were not up for the let's just close that. If you're not Ravenfire Phoenix, I've never been. Well, tell us. I mean, is it something you've wanted to do? Is it on your bucket list? We'll try and we'll answer any questions right now. It's technically day one of Comic-Con. Any questions you want to ask, do let us know. At the end of the day, if you've got preview night, I would personally say the only reasons to go to preview night are: one, if you are a DC or WB fan, for the previews, 4 or 5 of them that you find upstairs in Ballroom 20. Number 2, the exclusives, which at the end of the day, with the exclusives portal that has been available for the last couple of years, that's been died down because people already have their space in the line. So there's no rushing, there's no pushing and argy-bargy. No one trying to get to the front of the queue because everyone's already been assigned their slot. Which leaves number 3, and for me it is, well, actually we'll make it 4. Number 3, if you've never been, just for the lay of the land, for you to get a sense of the geography. Because certainly for 2010, the one thing that struck me, because we dropped in through Artist Alley, I went into the middle of the floor and looked down the hall and thought it was huge. I then walked 2/3 of the way down and then realized that the building bent and it kept going. You don't get a sense of the scale and the size if you're a first timer. Preview night gives you that. So that's for me. Ravenfire Phoenix is saying Defo wants to go. Well, in that case, this is the channel for you, and we'll definitely we're going to be doing this. We're going to be keeping these videos going, and certainly as we get closer to 2021, we'll give you all the advice we can. Badge sales, any kind of advice for accommodation, moving around the convention, best place to stay, things to check out, off-sites. That's what this channel's for. So do subscribe, and we'll do what we can to help you out. Toby Tonlino was last year, was the year they previewed that horrid Vampire Diaries show. Sat in Hall H the entire time. Wish I hadn't. The floor is more interesting on preview night. It is. I didn't actually go. This, I mean, it speaks volumes. Didn't go into Artist Alley properly until 2013, when I had the nerve to go up and talk to these people who had created the works that I had enjoyed for years. I felt intimidated and I didn't know what to do or say or act or how to talk to these people on the other side of the table. It's, for my money right now, the best point of going to Comic-Con. The Artist Alley area, it's just pure creativity for me. So there we go. Ravenfire Phoenix, is it worth going even if you don't have a ticket? The off-site attractions look great. Yes, very much so. You don't need a badge for the majority of them. I think there are only a handful that do. But when you have the Adult Swim activation out back, which has turned into a village on itself, when you have the FX, when you have all the various studios doing their bits and pieces over by the Omni, by the Hard Rock, by further on down by the Convention Park. Yeah, there's just so much to see and do. Anyone who only gets a mid, so like a one of the days or a couple of the days badges and miss out on, say, the Sunday or the Saturday or the Friday, you've got the rest of the city to enjoy. As I've said many times on this podcast, San Diego Comic-Con is not a convention that is held at San Diego Convention Center. San Diego Comic-Con is held in San Diego, and it takes over the city. Very, very much so. Danbury, I went to Comic-Con around 10 times before they even used Hall H, when the big panels were Ballroom 20, and you could line up at 5 a.m. and get a good seat. Just to remind you, Dan is in his early 60s. He just looks young because of the California temperament. He's been going to Comic-Con. Yeah, he's like that kind of guy. So there we go. Let's have a look at this. Leonard, we need to get you to ECCC Emerald City if you like Artist Alley. I want to go to Emerald City. I want to go to New York Comic Con. I was that close to going to New York. As many people know, it was the start of my run of bad luck. I was ready to go to New York Comic Con, and the company which were supplying the flights went bankrupt 8 days before I was due to fly. That's the luck I had. So there we go. Into the Blue Mister, I forgot how to speak English when I met Mike Mignola. I just burbled noises. Which one was it for me? This is Artist Alley. It was Jeff Darrow. And I knew Jeff Darrow because of Shaolin Cowboy, and also because he had done the production artwork on The Matrix. I went to his table, burbled at him, told him I was a fan, told him I was meeting my wife somewhere else, and carried on going because I just didn't know what to say to him. 5 years ago, I hosted a panel with him at MCM. This is how things have changed. It's just insane. Just insane. Karen Session, sign up as a volunteer if you get an opportunity. Absolutely. Because that will get you, number one, a very nice t-shirt. Number two, access into the convention for free for the rest of the day. All you have to do is give up a couple of hours of your time, and trust me, It's worth giving back to the convention. I did it in 2012, and off the back of me doing my best to put as much effort as I could in, I was invited back as a volunteer staff member, and I spent 3 amazing years crewing the Artist Alley room upstairs, and it's just amazing. So there you go. Andrew Dickinson, remember, he's very picky. His bar is incredibly high. Last year wasn't as good other than Amazon, but that's just me. There you go. Jim Watari, I went when it was still the El Cortez. Guys, if you've got your photos to hand and you want to jump in, message me and we'll get you on so you can share your photos. So there you go. Dan Berry, I look young since I don't go outside. Vampire life for life. Cool. Let's have a look at this. Karen, any recommendations for accommodation? If you have the money, have a go at the Hotel Apocalypse. Stay downstairs, by all means, if you've got the funds. At the end of the day, however, with the ability to have your free trolley that goes, and the buses that go around the city, you've got the accommodation that goes all the way up to Mission Valley, and it's easy enough to get down into the town. You don't necessarily need to stay downtown. I stayed downtown twice. I stayed at the Manchester Grand Hyatt, and I've stayed at the Hilton Gaslamp. And the money that we spent in those rooms, considering we barely stayed there, we were in a line, or we were outside, or we were taking part in the con. It was just somewhere to store our stuff. I think that's the only thing. If you've got a car and you can get the parking down underneath the convention center, that's where you can store your gear. Don't necessarily need to stay downtown. For me, I don't feel it's necessary. Ian O'Hara, when I first met Timothy Zahn, I was speechless. Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it? Jeff Darrow and Mike often sit together at Artist Alley. Jeff is super nice. Isn't he just? He is an absolute superstar. If you can search my Englishman San Diego channel, search for MCM, and search for the panel I did with him. It was just, I had so much fun. I had so much fun. But there we go. Oh, hello. Let's see what I'm doing here. Get rid of that. Okay, other questions. Is Sony bringing new trailer Venom, Let There Be Carnage, or Morbius SDCC? As far as we're aware, no. That's the official line. At the end of the day, however, we have had a drop-in panel, and it was on Friday when it was announced, and that is New Mutants. It's virtual. If a marketing department pulls its head out of its backside and gets something edited over the weekend just gone, I don't see why not. Keep your eyes open. Follow the the numerous hashtags. There's plenty of sources out there. Follow the Comic Con at the Comic Con International official Twitter account, and certainly subscribe to the YouTube channel, because any drop-in and surprise panels, that's what you're going to see. That's where you're going to go. Ian O'Hara, volunteering is awesome. Great way to give back. It is, for me, amazing. Karen Session talking about the accommodation thing. It's a long conversation, and there is a process to reserve rooms. Stay with this channel. I appreciate that, Karen. Thank you. We will do our best to, I mean, of course we try to help. And anyone who wants to stay downtown, you've got those big 5 to go for. You've got the Omni, you've got the Hilton Gaslamp, Hilton Bayfront, Manchester Grand Hyatt, and the Marriott. Those are your 5 core ones, but you go further out, there's places to stay. If you do want to stay downtown, the Gaslamp, it's where all the action is on the evening. Some great food. Amazing. Toby, still surprised I didn't burble at Steven Spielberg when he did the Ready Player One signing. Yeah, think I'd have lost my mind myself at that one. Non-SDCC news, Yuzaki Yobimbo's gotten a Netflix deal. Yes, we knew about that, because we're going to be getting an animated series. Looking forward to it. It's going to be cool. Let's have a look at this. Man, nothing like the adrenaline rush of Hull H. Cool Hull H Saturday story. Thank you very much indeed. It was just something very special. So there we go. Andrew Dickinson's really excited about the Stan Sakai Yosaki Yojimbo story. Don't think we'll see any movie trailers, as we don't know when they'll be out. That's a very good point. I mean, I would like to see a Dune trailer. I'd love to see a Dune trailer. I'm stunned that they haven't arranged for something. But you never know. We'll keep our eyes open. I have a picture of the partially built Hilton Bayfront. I put a tweet out, and I'd like you to go to it. Go to Englishman SDCC on Twitter. See if you are someone who has been to Comic-Con on a regular basis, if you are watching this and you've been to a fair number of cons, or even if you've been once, if you've been to Comic-Con, show me your pictures of your first Comic-Con, if you can find them. I know there were one or two people that then replied, I didn't have a smartphone back then. Yeah, share your photos, because that would be cool. Let's have a look at this. My current session, I'd love to see that. Yeah, the animated series I think is going to be incredible. Oh no, I think this is Michael P. I have a picture of the partially built Hilton Bayfront. Like to see that? Yes, please. Karen Session, say hello. And Streeter P, no Tenet movie. Yeah, at the end of the day, we don't know anything about Tenet. At the end of the day, Christopher Nolan does have history at Comic-Con, considering that Interstellar was the surprise drop-in panel. I mean, this is the kind of drop-in stuff, the surprise stuff that you can possibly see at Comic-Con at home. Hull H just had the listing for Paramount Pictures. That's all you had. Paramount Pictures. Matthew McConaughey came out. Hey. Gave it the full McConaughey action. Really got the room up and running. At which point he then turned around and said, and it gave me the opportunity to work with a truly amazing director, and I'd like to introduce you to him now. I am a massive Christopher Nolan fan. The room was 1/3 full, and I believe the entire room heard me lose my shit. I was blown away. I think I've got the photos myself. That's the thing. I've been going through my photos, and I've just been. This week's going to be hard. This week's going to be difficult. So there we go. Dan Berry, my favourite drop-in panel. Yeah, let's talk about these. Your favourite drop-in panels or your favourite surprises. Here we go. Drop in your favourite surprises. Okay? Let's see what you can come up with. We'll stay on for another 10-15 minutes. Your favourite surprises. Let's go with this. Okay. Dan Berry said, my favourite drop-in panel, Trailer Park, which turned into Kill Bill Volume 1 with a full cast and Quentin. Yeah, I've only seen Quentin Tarantino, I believe, at one panel, which was the Hateful Eight. I believe. Did I see him before that? Might have been. No, it was Hateful Eight, because I think he had had some kind of surgery a couple of days before, and he came on stage a little bit spacey. At which point they then showed the 75mm full CinemaScope opening sequence to Hateful Eight. Didn't have any music, so they used the temp score. It was Ennio Morricone who ended up doing the music for the film, but they ended up using Morricone as the actual temp music, and it was The Thing, the John Carpenter movie, and I recognised it the second it started playing, and it was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. J.J. Abrams clearing out Hall H, says Scott Angus. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Well, I wasn't there, unfortunately, for that one. But yeah, the fact that Kevin Smith was ready to go online and ready to go, and on stage, and basically J.J. Abrams emptied the room because they all went to the free concert down on the back of the convention centre. What a shame. Ian O'Hara has pulled a good one up. I liked this one. The favourite drop-in was Godzilla. And I'm going to give you the flip of that. This was when Gareth Edwards was signed up to do Godzilla. And they showed a very CG-heavy trailer for Godzilla. and it was the first time we saw and heard the roar. And I think they played it twice, because it really was just dropped in. It was, yeah, that was a hell of a day. You're absolutely right, Ian, that was something else. But then, the year after, there was the rumour that we were going to be getting another Godzilla trailer. And this was the same company again. And they started running this panel, and it looked like we were getting another Godzilla trailer. And it went through it all, and then the creature that we're seeing, the silhouette up on screen, got a little bit fluffier. And then we realised they were doing a trailer for King Kong. And I think the entire room just went, huh? That kind of, very, very strange. But then again, it speaks volumes about that particular company. All the press were sat out front, and then the company to do Godzilla, which was, go on, someone help me out. I'm gonna have to find out because listen, I'm typing it in, and I'm sure you can find it out for myself. But basically, they shot their foot. Legendary. There you go, Dan Barry. Legendary. They shot themselves in the foot 3 years on the trot, and I believe that year was the year they also did Black Hat. And you could actually see the marketing department in the front section of Hall H, and the hairs started going up on the back of their head as they felt this indifference coming from the back of the room. They really did shoot themselves in the foot. Didn't help that they had one of the worst panel hosts, who I'm not going to mention because I think she's blocked me on my personal Twitter, and I think she wants to block me on my Englishman SDCC. She's not very good. Former Nerdist host. Not great in front of a crowd. Okay. Let's have a quick look. Toby is saying my favourite drop-in was a Ballroom 20 panel. I can't remember what it was, but what was in there before was a Frank Miller panel. Frank Miller is somebody who I have had a panel experience, because I've hosted for Frank Miller again at MCM. I've seen him on stage at Comic-Con, and he seemed a little spacey again, mostly because of life. He's lived it, and also I believe he had just had surgery himself. He wasn't in the greatest space of mind. But then I hosted his Q&As and his panel at MCM, and there is some serious steel trap mind operating behind those eyes. Very, very, very impressive. Favourite drop-in for Into the Blue Mister, 2000 AD 2012, when Carl Urban and Olivia Thirlby turned up as surprise guests in a room full of around 50 people. And I think those 50 went to see Dredd. Why that film is not the massive hit that it should be, I have no idea. Why it hasn't got a sequel is stunning me, but there we go. Dan Berry saying the best all-time drop-in has got to be the year I didn't go to Hall H. This was Loki, and it was the year that my wife Caroline broke her leg on preview night. She tried to do the con on the Thursday and Friday, and it pretty much damn near broke her, so we stayed in the condo room on the Saturday, and I was glued to Twitter, and Loki came out. Yeah, I know, I'm aware. So there we go. Raven Fire Phoenix, Andrew Garfield as Spidey. It is one of the classic YouTube clips, isn't it? Him showing up as Spidey in full outfit, asking the question, saying that it's so important for him to play Spidey and to be dressed up and be at Comic-Con as Spider-Man. Takes the costume off and the room goes nuts. No, you're absolutely right. That was a hell of it. I mean, these are the things. We see them on YouTube. We see them talked about. It is those moments. For me, the moment I knew I wanted to go to Comic-Con was the Tron Legacy. I'm a massive Tron fan. Disney did a drop-in of a FX test for Tron Legacy, which was at that point T2RON. T2, oh, it was awful. Before it was Tron Legacy. And they did that drop-in of the that teaser trailer, the FX test. and you can hear the room go nuts. And that's when I said, I want to go to Comic-Con. That was for me. There you go. Karma Savage, Dragon Con is the best cosplay. You know what? When Comic-Con moved all of the booths and the administration booths upstairs into sales, and you had all of this space available downstairs, where they would have had all the administration tables, and they had a massive backdrop of the Comic-Con logo. Why wasn't that really pushed as where you go for your Comic-Con cosplay photos taken? It's right there, man. It's right there. Insane. Karma Savage, my first Comic-Con was 2011 as a volunteer since I didn't score badges. Definitely volunteer at least once. Agreed. Very, very agreed. So there we go. Karma Savage, Danbury is in his early 60s, no way. Early to mid. It's one of the two. You'd have to ask him. You have to shout because the hearing's starting to go. And he may have to move his walker out of the way for him to talk to you. But have a word. But there we go. Andrew Dickinson, Batman vs Superman reveal film, not so much. You can't knock that as a reveal, though. Having an actor come out and read from The Dark Knight Returns, and then show the logo for Batman vs Superman. There was 3 years of it, or 2 years of it. Second year was the year when you had that teaser section with Batman stood on the roof. He hits the bat signal, follows the camera follows up the beam of the bat signal, lightning flashes, and Superman is there in the middle of the bat signal. Yeah, absolutely. Michael P, leave my buddy Dan alone. Dan, I would never, ever disparage, because my mum told me never upset your elders. So there we go. Into the Blue Mister, if you feel any sudden pains, it'd be Dan stabbing your voodoo doll with pins. Wouldn't it be slightly more concerning that he has a voodoo doll of me? I'm just saying. Dan Berry is an absolute superstar. Go to theconventioncollective.com. Go to the sandbox page of that website. It's all about his passion, his determination, his interests, his loves. He's got a whole bunch of people writing some really great stuff. He has done a hero's job on that website. He is a rock star. And follow him on Twitter as well. That's Fat Joe. That's FATJ 2 zeros. There you go. Toby Turnino, I've been to earlier cons, but my first Facebook era con picture is 2009 from Battlestar Galactica retrospective. Pic sent your way, Leonard. So there we go. And Dan Berry's letting you know. Follow him on Twitter. Man's a rock star. So there you go. Andrew Dickinson, I'm your elder, never stopped you. Really? I thought you were in your mid-20s. Early 30s. I'm obviously a really bad judge of age. So there we go. Right then, guys, I'm going to get off. I say I have guests lined up for tomorrow's show, but from today, I don't know what I can suggest. I am going to do panels. I'm going to do these throughout the course of Comic-Con because I want to talk about favorite memories. I want to talk about, we just talk about Comic-Con. It is Comic-Con week. Let's celebrate and enjoy it. I know that it's certainly the shows that we've done over the course of the last 3 months have been about our convention community coming together throughout lockdown. That's been my goal for the shows. It's the reason why I went twice a week. Yeah, I think that's what this week's going to be all about. It's about the community coming together and celebrating this event that we wish we were there. And not just this one. I'm praying that we're not going to get an announcement this week. Let's get this week out of the way. Let's find out about New York Comic Con after the fact, because I think if New York Comic Con announced its cancellation this weekend, that would be a double kick in the plums. That'd be tough. Let's have a look at this. Andrew Dickinson's watching a panel. I have one at 11, then a live D&D tomorrow with a Deborah and well, you know what? You are just dropping all the names today, aren't you? Fantastic. Into the Blue Mister. Great show today. Light-hearted and great memories. Big smile on my face. I'm glad that that's what we've done, and glad that we've helped. I am going to go through as well the panels, which you can see tomorrow. Runners and riders. If we see any news of any drop-ins, we'll let you know, but we will be on air tomorrow from 6 o'clock. So 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. You could call this a little bit of a teaser. It is going to be a short one, and I'll tell you why. I was actually asked, I wanted to do basically an Englishman's Comic Con is what I wanted to call it, and I wanted to do it from 10 a.m. my time, GMT, till about 5 p.m. non-stop, with just non-stop interviews. I was asked not to. Wasn't threatened, wasn't told, but I was asked not to. Basically, not to tread on the toes of Comic Con International, which I totally get. However, the reason why tomorrow is going to be a slightly shorter one, we're going to be online as our usual time, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. But at the end of the day, from 10 a.m. in the morning, you have IGN that are going to be doing their live stream. They had the staff, they had the crew, they had the technology. They were going to be doing what they were going to be doing anyway. Setting up shop in San Diego and doing a live stream with their own hosts, doing highlight panels. So pulling one or two of the panels from the Comic Con International lineup and dropping them in as the panels are being debuted on the website. So in actual fact, you can just tune into the IGN channel and enjoy Comic Con. Can't say further than that. But it starts at the same time as this will start. And I don't want to tread on Comic Con too much. So there we go. Raven Fire Phoenix, does Marvel have the usual stream? No, it doesn't. It's a kicker, is this? I mean, as far as I'm aware, I mean, we got that shout there about, let's actually bring it up and see what they said, because there is Marvel, and as we were discussing earlier, that there was Marvel HQ was listed. So let's have a quick glance at that and see what they've got lined up, because Marvel do have a couple of panels, but nothing major. They haven't got anything, so they haven't got any content that they are going to be bringing directly to Comic-Con. Marvel HQ, it's their channel. So they're good. They've got their YouTube channel, which is advertised on Comic-Con International, but nothing too major. You've got a couple of panels which have some Marvel content. DC are actually representing more, and they've got their own event coming down the line, DC Fandom. So no, it's going to be difficult. Toby is saying heading down to the Comic-Con or to Convention Center on Saturday for some Point to Rome and reminisce. If you can do it around this time, 10 a.m. Pacific, I know it's difficult to get yourself down there first thing in the morning. Toby, could you do that? Could you go down on Saturday morning? I'd like to do a live stream from the area, from the convention center. The one thing that is killing me, and from 2010 when we wanted to go, when we first went, and to about 2016, there was a live stream camera, a webcam, from the Omni and from the top of the gas lamp area. Both of those cameras now are offline, and it kills me, because we want to see the convention center, we want to see the gas lamp, we want to breathe it all in, even though we can't go. There we go. That's me, that's all we're done. Do follow on Twitter, because that's where I'm going to live now for the rest of this weekend. Anything that we can spot of any interest, anything that we feel that you would be excited about, all the panels, I'm going to, like I say, I mean, we've been talking about this, 3 p.m. West Coast, So 11 p.m. here in the UK. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4 hours. We'll keep an eye on the panels. We'll see how the live element works. Also, tomorrow and I believe Saturday night, I have been invited onto a panel or onto a podcast. I don't know if it's a live stream, but Heidi MacDonald, who is the editor-in-chief of The Beat, Comic Beat, one of the biggest comics-related websites out there, has invited me onto a panel or onto a podcast on Thursday night and Saturday night. The podcast is called 4 Girls in a Hotel Room. I'm not sure how that will look, what the optics of that, of me appearing on a podcast called 4 Ladies in a Hotel Room, but they've invited me, which I'm absolutely certain is not a defence which would hold up in court. So there we go. We'll see what happens. Englishman SDCC. That one, there. Follow on Twitter. Instagram, I'm going to be posting a bunch of memories. Do follow along, and we'll do what we can to bring you something of the atmosphere of San Diego Comic Con. Ravenfire Phoenix, I hope that we stoke the fire for you, and hopefully you'll join us in 2021. But let's enjoy this one first. It's not going to be the same, but it's Comic Con, so let's do with it what we can. Take care. We'll see you soon. Tomorrow, day 1 proper of Comic Con at Home 2020. From me to you, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.